Welcome back, everybody. Hi, friends.
Hello,
Hi, Lauren.
friends. Hi, Shannon. How are you?
I'm well. How are you?
Doing good.
Yeah,
What's going on with you this week? What's on your mind?
busy time of year.
I know, it's crazy.
Yeah, it's a little crazy. I mean, even this, we're like, all right, we have 30 minutes, ready, go. Uh, let's talk. Um, what's on my mind? I'm very excited. My kids are growing up. That's on my mind. Like
Okay.
very quickly, suddenly,
Yeah.
my son got his driver's permit last week. So that was
Oh
very
my
exciting
God.
and also really terrifying. And then my
You know what's so
daughter,
crazy about that is that I remember getting my driver's permit and thinking like I'm such an adult.
yeah. And then you're like, also, okay, child, like, why do I have to explain to you why you can't, I don't know, why
Of
you
course.
can't be doing these number of things or why you still,
Right.
that you should, brush
It's
brush your
just
teeth. I
funny
mean,
because
he's a
he
bright
probably
boy,
thinks
but,
he's a
like,
grown up, but you're
he
like,
still
no, you're a
succeeds.
child. Right.
Yeah, he does, like, and so you're, like, somewhere between, like, you went to the beach, don't take your shoes off, full of sand in the house, to, "Yeah, here, get behind the
Like,
wheel of the car. This makes all the
sure.
sense in the world.
Driving
Why
a
wouldn't
freeway.
you be driving this heavy machinery around town?" Of course. So yeah, so that's and then Mia made the club volleyball team, so I'm very excited about that because, I played volleyball, I'm super excited, and I'm coaching 6th grade basketball. So,
What?
I know,
You're like, "You
and
know what? I don't have enough things on my plate. Let me add 6th grade basketball coach."
yeah, I was just gonna
Mhm.
add it to the list, and the best part is she's like, "Oh, you're coaching, mom? Again?" I was like, "Well, you're welcome for this volunteer service that I'm doing for you, my child." So I'm like, "Quality time, honey. Yay." So anyway, that's been on my mind is they're growing up fast and we're somewhere always
Um,
in the middle of like them becoming young adults and
yeah,
also still being my babies and a proxy for like the time going so much faster is just
I
like these
know.
big life milestones. So anyway, what's up
It's
with
like you
you?
blink and all of a sudden it's like, how did it like, I feel like 5 minutes ago it was 2020 the start of
Uh,
2025.
this year has gone so fast and it's been like a legit wild year.
Mhm. It's just crazy. I was thinking about I'm about to go back to CES.
Oh
And
yeah.
last year at CES is when we first recorded in person, and the next day is when all the wildfire craziness broke out. So, like, that was just a year ago.
Yeah, I think it was that morning. It was the
Mhm.
Tuesday morning because I was with you, and by nighttime, I was like, "How am I gonna get home? Because we need to evacuate."
I know.
And,
It's
like,
crazy.
it was so wild, yeah, and all of a sudden, it's like
And all of a
CES
sudden,
is
it's the
like
end
the
of the year.
annual instead of, like, New Year's, you're like, "I'm going back to CES," which indicates it's 2026,
It's 2026. I'm going to Vegas. I'll be eating steaks and drinking martinis.
as one does, as
Mhm.
one does. I know everyone's like, "Are you going to CES?" I'm like, "Ooh." I don't know. I mean, literally, I'm just like, I don't know, and if I don't need to go, I won't be there. So,
Yeah. Well, good
yeah,
for you.
here we are, which
Good
is,
for you.
I guess the part of being an entrepreneur. I'm making
Yeah.
new types of choices.
That's right. That's
So,
right.
what are we talking about today, LD?
So
It's
I
your
wanna talk about
yeah.
what I've been, sort of thinking about a lot lately, which is, like, the middle. And what I mean by that is, like, you start something and it's exciting and it's okay, and, like, there's sort of this, like there's this idea of, like, beginner's luck or, like, you take flight lessons and you're like, "Wow, that was really fun." And then it's like or you start a podcast or you start a new job or you whatever it is, right?
Yeah.
And then there's, like, the middle, and the middle part is, like, where you have to just keep showing up every single day consistently, doing your thing, doing, like, over and over and over, and sometimes that's, like, 5 years, 10 years, 20 years, like, depending on what you're doing, right? If you're an athlete, like, that could be 20 years of your life that you're just
Yeah.
showing up with no recognition, and then it's like people see the beginning and people see the end, but, like, what I wanna talk about is, like, where the work lies, which is, like, the consistency and the showing up every day.
Yeah. I love that. I I feel like that is relatable to all kinds of scenarios in life. across
Yes.
every person in every part of their life.
Man, it's
It's a
crazy.
big one. So, what is the what is the little, like, tickle
Yeah.
that's, sort of has you in this spot that you feel like you're just kinda in the middle?
Yeah, I mean, I am in the middle, and I I'm building a business, and it's really hard, and I'm working harder than I ever have, more consistently, longer hours, putting
Yeah.
in an effort, 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 effort. And I think there was a part of me that was just like, and then it's gonna be great. And it's not, right? It's hard. And like some months I don't know if I'm gonna be able to pay all my bills, and some months I don't know, and so it's like, um, I don't know. I think that when I was working in corporate for another company, it was like you put in work and then you get recognition, and then you put in work and you get recognition. And then when you're building something on your own, it's just like there's nobody patting you on the back. Like your bank account is your feedback. And sometimes that feedback is
Not
constructive.
nice. It's rude, frankly. It's just
Is
rude.
it?
Where's the work you're doing, bank account? Why aren't you just, like, filling up?
I know, I know. And so I don't know.
Yeah,
I read this book. I think I mentioned it, but I just reread it again called The
yeah,
Dip. And it's Seth Godin, and he talks about how there's a dip in everything you do. There's a starting out period where it's like going great, and then there's this dip. And he's like, sometimes dips are 25 years. Like if you look at the CEO of a company, like
yeah,
they are the CEO of a company because they had 25 years of slog of
yeah,
late nights, early mornings, traveling and being apart from their families, etc. And then they get to this place where it's like, oh, they're the CEO, and everyone's like, wow, what an amazing job. It's like, yeah, but they had to eat shit for 25 years. And so he's like, essentially, like anything that you do in life, whether it's a relationship, whether it's a building a business, whatever it is, like there's going to be this period of dip, and like you, the number one thing you cannot do is quit in the dip.
yep. I feel like we should pause there for you to really embrace what you just said. Everyone, let's take a moment of silence for Lauren.
Yeah, don't quit in the dip. And
Don't
like,
quit in the dip.
and sometimes that's really hard. You're like, oh my God, this is too hard. This is too hard.
Well,
Like,
I guess the question is like, what do you see as the place to which you're going? Like, what is the thing, like, when you think about momentum and you think about success and you think about what is the thing that you're working so hard for? Like, what is that
mm.
thing, right? Like, what's
And
the mountain you're trying to climb?
I think that's the key is that you have to be able to take the steps up the mountain while being able to zoom out and look at the top and be like, I see where I'm going. Because like otherwise you can get so lost in the steps that you're like, this is too hard. I'm just going to go backwards.
Yeah.
But I think to your point or to your question, it's like, what's the vision? The
Yeah.
vision, how do you reinforce that vision every day? It's like, okay, I want to build this into you know, an incredibly successful PR agency, and I want to sell it in 5 years. Okay, keep moving on to that vision. Keep
Yeah.
focused on that vision. Keep hammering home on that vision. And then I guess like it's like the macro micro, right? Like the macro helps you to take the micro steps.
Yeah. Yeah. And I think the micro steps is where the reward is, right? Because the truth is, it's like you have this goal, this mountain you're climbing, right? The summit is you build this PR agency, and maybe it's 5 years, maybe it's 7 years, but ultimately your desire right now in this moment
Right.
is to sell it. Now,
Right.
5 years from now, that summit may look different. You may decide to hike all seven peaks.
Yeah. That's true.
Suddenly K2 and Everest are like those appealing, right? But
That's
like
true.
you but the ability to also realize, like, you don't hike out Everest or K2 without having to anchor in some loops and tie some knots and pull yourself up and walk slowly across the crevasse and, like, all of these
Sometimes you have to go
things.
down to go
You've
up.
gotta go down so you can
Yeah.
come back up, right? So you can traverse the path also in a way that makes sense and is not necessarily I mean, yes, if you're hiking a mountain, you need to be safe. But, like, in this case, right, you also have to have blind faith in yourself that you can actually summit.
Mhm.
And that is it's like those little steps make all the difference, right? It's like, okay, you're not always like Billy goating yourself up the mountain and rock scrambling. You're like one foot in front of the other. What are the three things
Right.
I can do today? How
Yeah.
can I, move this forward just a little bit? And
Yeah.
you're not going to wake up and be like, and one day you will wake up and there'll be like some note in your inbox or you'll meet somebody and they'll be like,
Sure.
oh, that's a really interesting business you've built. Like maybe I would like to buy it.
Sure.
You did just cross over. Congratulations. I saw on the TikTok,
Mm.
that you crossed 10,000 followers on TikTok.
Yeah. Yes, I did, and I think those little wins along the way, you're right, that's where you have to find the joy in those little wins, and you have to celebrate those
Yeah.
little wins. It's like, "Oh, shit, like, I've been doing this for 2 years and I got to 10,000 followers, like, that's an accomplishment," or like, "Hey," whatever the little wins are.
Yeah. And it could just be the joy of doing,
Yeah.
right? Like, even when it's hard, asking yourself, do you enjoy the work? If you enjoy the work, right? Like, you're not gonna enjoy everything. I was just watching this,
No.
I'm a duck. Everyone knows I'm a duck. Like, I was just watching
What do you
this
mean in a duck?
podcast. I'm an Oregon duck.
Oh, right.
Not an
Right,
actual
right.
duck. You're like,
I
"Shannon,
was
you
like,
really
"Water off a duck's
you're
back?
really
What's the
having"
metaphor here?"
Also, you're like, "Wow, maybe you're spending too much time at home." I don't know. I'm an actual duck.
Right.
I'm reimagining myself as a duck. No, I was watching this, like, interview with Dan Lanning about who's the coach of the Oregon Ducks, um, and really, truly one of the most successful coaches in football right now,
Mm.
and it's like, how did he get to where he is, right? And it's by doing the jobs that no one else wants to do, right? It's
Mhm.
by staying up late. It's by grinding it out. It's like we got successful in corporate America because we grew up in a time when you stayed later than your boss. You got there earlier than your boss. You delivered the projects without having a conversation or negotiating when they would be due. They were
Right.
just to be due and you did them,
Right.
right?
Right.
Like, and
Right.
then you turned it in to your boss. Yeah.
Oh, man. I was thinking about you actually the other day with, like, how you like, all the American Idol and all of the what's that guy's
Yeah.
name that you worked for?
I worked for Simon Fuller. I worked for Simon Cowell. I worked for Mark Burnett. I worked
Mark
for
Burnett,
mhm.
and all those, like, shows and how intense that must have been and, like, the stories that people would tell of, like, you know, crying because they had to get coffee and like, just
Yeah,
crazy.
we
It must have been a
grinded.
crazy
It was
world.
crazy. I mean, I was joking with someone the other day, and I was telling this story about how I was standing with Ryan Seacrest, and we were talking about a Coca-Cola integration, and the executive producers did not want to do the Coca-Cola integration in that they had changed their minds, and that's not really how that works. So and they know it, but, like, you had to come in and be like, this is, really important for the business. It's really important for the back end of this business. And I remember the EP, me telling him that he had to do this and, like, having the fun and Ryan, like, watching us have this very heated debate. And then the guy says to me, he goes, Shannon, you're very sexy when you're angry."
Okay.
And I was like, this is a very weird time to say that. Really disarming, like, really just, like, and then I remember getting super red, looking at Ryan. Ryan's watching me. I go, "Well, it doesn't matter. We still have to do the Coca-Cola integration."
Doesn't matter how sexy I
And it
am,
was
but
but
thank you,
also,
I
like,
know.
then you're just like, "Oh my god," it's, like, so stressful because 'cause you're like, "Oh my god, please just agree to do like, we gotta do
Oh
this
my
because you don't
god.
wanna call Coke and tell them that, like, now the EP wants to change the episode for their integration and all the executives are waiting to hear," like, so to that and you're up until all hours of the night doing these things. So it was so intense, but I have so many, like, very funny memories of it, and I'm so glad that we worked that hard because, honestly, I learned so much that it is now in the rear view that I'm like, "Oh my god, I learned so much through grinding through so many
That's a
of those
great
things."
point. That's a great point, like, you got to where you are today because of those things. Like, you wouldn't be where you are unless you've been where you've been.
Totally, and giving you it's interesting, right? Like, doing this startup, right? Like, launching this business, which has American Idol-like similarities, right, in terms
Okay.
of IP and franchise building and all that kinda stuff, and, like, all that time spent and grinding it out and working through the problems and trying to find solutions and, like, having difficult conversations and, dealing with people who, I never sometimes was out of my depth and I wasn't really exactly sure what I was doing and faking it till I made it. But also sometimes really knowing what I was doing and having to butt up against people who had more authority than me or whatever. And so, but in that, you learn confidence and you learn resilience and you learn perseverance and you learn all these things that embed themselves like a fingerprint into you, right? They kind of grow like roots. And sometimes you don't even know that they've done that until it comes back around where you're in the middle of the night stressed out and you're like, "Oh my god, I have all these deliverables for these clients or whatever." And you're like, "Wait a second, like I know how to do this. This is just a hard time because there's a lot to do."
Yeah. Yeah. Yes. I think that makes a ton of sense, and I think yeah, to speak about it talking about a dip, right? Like, those are the times in your life where, like, you weren't getting the paycheck and you weren't getting the recognition and you just had to grind it out and go through it, but then on the other side, you see the success and you see the rationale behind why you did it, and,
Yeah.
you
Yeah,
know,
and sometimes you didn't. And sometimes you
right.
had the
You
dip
did it in the moment, right. I think that's
and you
the
didn't in the
hard part.
moment.
Right.
Yeah. Yeah. And if you're a person like we talked about this, I think, on a past podcast, which is like, if you were, some degree, one of your survival tactics was pleasing people and doing the good things because it got you validation, that could be compensate for not the raise or not the money, right? Like, you could still thrive off of, that kind of validation. When you work for yourself, it's a much different thing, right? Like,
Oh,
no
yeah.
one's giving you a pat on the back every day and being like, "Lauren, you did a great job."
Well, not only that, like, you don't have anybody that has expectations of you except yourself. So that's another thing I've sort of struggled with is like, okay, what are my goals for this week? And then holding myself accountable to them because no one else is going to hold me accountable to them,
Yeah.
and you could very easily let them slide. So you almost have to like be your own boss.
Yeah, you do. You have to be your own boss. You've gotta be it's funny, I've, like, really started to try and having now moved, I have one single place to live is, like, magically life-changing for me. I feel
Okay, good.
less I think I'm like, I don't know how anyone dealt with me for 5 years. I'm I I'm
I
joking.
always wondered if that was like hard to do, like
It
always
was,
move
but,
house.
I was in it, and that was sort of what I was doing, and I had
That
my
was your
North Star
reality.
of, like, this is much easier for my children, like,
Right.
that was the compass, right? So the compass was clear. That was the mountain I was summiting, right? So the
Right.
days when I had all these bags and I was, like, super frustrated and I couldn't find, like I can't find my other AirPods. I have another set of AirPods in the move somewhere, they're in a bag, I don't know where.
Right.
But,
Right.
like, I that became my way of life, right? So there was no that was a dip for me, and then when this whole thing happened with, the new baby and, like, all not my baby, everybody, but, like, spoiler alert, there's a new baby. The new baby and the moving and all the things. For me, it was the universe sort of taking control, like, "Jesus, take the wheel." Carrie Underwood was singing behind me, speaking of American Idol, and being like, "Jesus, take the wheel. She needs to stop doing this." Right?
Yeah.
And in that was, like, a slight dip because I was very overwhelmed, right? As you know, I was talking about it in our podcast. But, like, I also am now, like, on the other side of it, and I'm like, "Yeah, you can do hard things."
Mhm.
You
You
can do
can.
the hard things, and you can grind it out, and you
You
can
can.
whatever, and then things will have moments of peace, and you just have a
Yes.
lot going on.
Yeah. I mean, I was watching this Gary V clip lately, he's just been inspiring me a lot. I think it's the screaming, but he's like, "Everybody wants the results, but nobody wants the process." And
Yeah,
it's like, yeah, everybody wants the results, but nobody wants and, like, same thing with like, with relationships, with work, with starting a business, like, it is all a process.
it's all I mean, remember when we started this podcast and you're like, "Shannon, only 5 people listen to the podcast." I'm like, "Yeah, but, like, people don't like all of a sudden, thousands of people don't start listening to the podcast. It's, I do this because like I love doing it. Like this time actually ends up being very meaningful for me because it's basically therapy. We're just talk to each other about all the stuff on our mind. And then I leave and I'm like, oh yeah, okay, I feel like better. I feel better.
Mhm. Yeah, totally.
But, you know, I think
But
it's
it's
a
a
good
process. It's a process for sure. Like,
good thing same
and
time. There was a meme, I don't know if you ever saw this, but it was the Kobe Bryant. And he it's a clip of him talking about essentially the Mamba mentality, right? He's like, "Let's say you get up and you start training for basketball and you get up at, you know, 8 a.m. and you go out and you play for 2 hours." I might have already told this story, right? And then you, like, come home and you eat and you rest and you might do some things and then you go back and you train some more. He's like, "But then let's say you get up at 6 a.m. And then let's say you are the person that gets up at 4 a.m. After 5 years, 7 years of working that way, those
yeah.
are the people that become elite athletes,
Yeah.
not the person that got up
100%.
at 8 a.m. and went to practice for 2
Yeah.
hours."
Yeah, I mean, think about it over time. If you have an extra 2 hours on everybody else every single day for 5 years, that's
Yeah.
how many hundreds or thousands of hours? And so you're like, if you it compounds over time,
Yeah, that's right. Compounding, right? Compounding
compounding.
is actually a great way to visualize what you need to do. If I do these 3 things today, it's a compound effect on the 3 things I did yesterday.
Yes. Yes. And speaking of the past year, of what I did this year, and it's like, okay, like how have I been living and what is the life I'm creating? What are the habits that I'm forming? What are the things I'm doing every day? And then you can look back at that year and you can be like, oh, okay, like this is how I spent my time. Here's where I can optimize. Here's what I could cut out.
Yeah. Yeah. And
Do you know
and
that
that's
book
another thing.
Atomic Habits?
Yeah, I love it.
James Clear?
Really good.
Yeah, I
Yeah.
love him too. But one of the things he says is every action you take is a vote for the type of person you wish to become.
Yeah. Yeah. In every way.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah.
like how you respond to someone, how you act, if you let someone in when they're trying to cut in front of you, and if, like, you can
Yes.
freak out or you can just let them in. Like,
Yeah.
at the end of the day, like, you don't
Exactly.
need to get angry. It's just like, I don't really wanna be an angry person, so why am I
No.
getting angry about this, you know?
Yeah. Yeah.
So,
I
yeah.
know.
Well, I'm sensitive. Today we actually need to we're more succinct today. So I think we need to, like, go into our open door of the
Oh,
week.
yeah. Okay.
Um,
Yes.
and then yeah, and then we have to say goodbye to all of our friends. But we hope
Yes.
this was
We have
very
a
helpful and picked you up. And if you were in a dip,
if you're in a dip,
compound.
freaking keep going, keep going,
Keep
keep going, keep
going.
going. Like,
Keep
that's the
going.
one thing that I took from Seth Godin's book. He's like, "Just don't quit. Like, do
Yeah,
not quit." Like,
just
you
keep
you just
going.
have to get through it. You just have to get through it, and you
Yeah,
will get to the other side.
and you
It's
will.
just a trust and faith and work, you know?
Yes. Yeah, all the things.
Okay, so what's your open door for this week?
Um, my open door for this week was like a lot of things, which is a little bit of like a say yes, like I'm like leaning in to my life again. I feel like less reactive to my life and maybe more like now going to be able to be more proactive in my life. And that feels like an open door. Even though I feel like I've always been
Huge.
that way, it feels just a little slightly different, right? Where I'm like, okay,
That's huge.
making time to go to a dinner last night for a girl that literally used to be my intern, and she has a successful agency business now that she has been working on for like 20 years. But she had all these clients, and it was in West Hollywood, so it was far away from the bubble. I like left the planet, I came back,
You made
and
it.
the rocket ship. No, and and it was so lovely. Like I met
That's
some new
great.
people. I had some great laughs. It was so great to see her like
It's so
thriving,
great.
all the things. So yeah, it was great. So, I
I
don't know.
I think that's so awesome. I think that idea of community is very prominent for me and is also an open door right now. I work from home. I get a bit isolated. Like I'm an extrovert. I love being around people as I know you do too. And
Yeah.
so being at home all day by yourself every day is isolating. And so I just have been putting it out there that I want to create community. And I've
Yeah.
had all these things pop up in the last 2 weeks of like, people coming from years ago being like, "Hey, like, we should start a dinner series thing, or we should start a,
Yeah.
like, co-working thing," or and so I don't know what it's gonna look like, I don't know what it's gonna be, but I have, like, I put it out there, and now I'm like, "Let's see what seeds sprout in 2026 because I do need some community."
Yeah, and I think, if anything too, like, if all else is lost, right? Like, it's like you're in a dip and you're kinda like, "What are the things that I need?" I think the ability to just say it out loud and ask for
Yeah.
what you want, whether you're just talking to yourself, the universe, God, whatever, whatever it is that you value, being able to ask for what you want, um, helps you to attract what you need.
Yeah, my coach calls it decide, declare, deliver.
Oh, I like it. Yeah,
Decide,
I like a
declare,
good
deliver.
alliteration like 3 Ds or 3 Cs or, all the things. It's the marketers in us. I'm like, "Ooh, I really
Right.
like it." When you can create a structure for it, it's gotta be true
That's right, and then now I can remember it forever.
forever.
Well, thanks,
Well,
Shannon. I'm glad we did this,
me too.
episode. I'm glad we talked about getting through the dip, and thanks everybody for listening.
Thanks for listening, and please like and subscribe and
Yes.
share comments. We would love to
Yeah.
see or learn more about what you wanna talk about. So,
Yeah,
all
absolutely.
right, LD, have a good rest of your day,
You
and,
too.
talk
Bye,
to you soon.
everybody.
Okay, bye, everybody.